Okay, I'm really excited to share with you a brand new routine that's based on an amazing new mathematical card magic principle. And I'll have information linked in the description below if you want to learn more about that principle. So for this, you need ace through king of any one of the four suits, okay? And we'll go ahead and close those up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the king right here and we're going to place the king exactly in the middle, okay? And as you'll find out, this kind of has a game protocol feel to it, okay? It's going to be a card challenge for the spectator. Okay, so 3, 6, so the very middle goes right there, okay? So we have the king in the very middle of this packet of 13 cards. Now the challenge is to deal out the cards into two piles and stack the piles in just the right way that you're able to bring the king to the very top of this packet. Now let me tell you that I had one family member who took 10 left-right shuffles to achieve that. Another family member took 4, and another family member did it in 3, which is the minimum possible. But the important thing is, in all 3 cases, and in general, it doesn't matter how many left-right dealings they do, you're still going to finish with an amazing finale, as you'll see. Okay, so why don't we go ahead, maybe we'll just explore some ways that maybe won't accomplish the minimum number, okay? So the spectator might think, okay, well, I'm trying to get the king to the top, so maybe I'll stack these on the right there. That would seem reasonable. And then we'll deal them again. So that's one dealing. Okay. And we're trying to get the king to the top. Well, the king's over here, a bunch of cards here, so they might think, well, let's just put that packet on top, right? Seems reasonable. Okay, well, but the problem is we're not much better off, but, you know, we're trying to get the king to the top, so most people would probably do that. Okay, this is looking kind of familiar here. Isn't that the situation we were just in? So maybe just for variety, we'll stack them that way. Okay. And a lot of people looking at this would go, oh, wow, the king is just one away from the top. Well, let's have that on top. But is that a good choice? We'll find out. So let's deal them again. Oh, boy. Now the king's on the bottom. Quite far away from the top. So depending on what the spectator is reasoning, they might put the right pile on top of the left, and they'll go dealing for quite some time before they eventually stumble on what's needed to bring the king to the top. Now, if they're thinking very deeply, they should reason that, oh, the king's at the bottom of this packet. If I stack these on top, when these are dealt out, the bottom card will now be the top card. And you will have eventually, after a lot of work, finished. Okay? And then they go, oh, I'm there now, finally. I don't know how many times it took us, 7 or 8 shuffles. Okay, and why don't I go ahead and just show you, whoops, I'm sorry, we're supposed to like reset it here. So we'll put the king in the middle. So where is it? 3, 6. Yeah, and so when you go to do this, if you want to like reset the packet again, if they're able to bring it to the top, just move the king to the middle. Start over. Okay, so let's try to do it in 3, and then we're going to show you the big finale that you'll get to regardless of how many attempts they make or how many times it takes them to eventually get the king to the top. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just stack left on right, okay? And maybe what I'll do is I'll kind of deal them downwards so you can kind of see what's going on here, okay? Now, the king's one away from the bottom. Now, we had that person reason before, well, the king is in this half, maybe we should put him on top. That's not a good choice. What you'd want to do here is actually put left on right, because if the king's at the bottom, in fact, second from the bottom, it's going to be one of the top cards, right? So that's number 2. And here is number 3, and we've done it in 3. Just stack right on lefts. Okay, so regardless of how many attempts and how many times it took people to get it here, here's the big finale. You take the king, set him in the middle, and then we're going to Klondike pairs of cards above the king, below the king, off to the left, up there, off to the left a little bit lower, off to the right, right there, and then the final pair on the right. Okay. What kind of finale are we hoping for? Well, if you think about all of the movement of the cards, especially when they are in the hands of the spectator and you are not controlling the stacking of those piles and how many times it takes them to do it, and nonetheless, you're able to finish in the way that I'm going to show you right now, that is amazing. Okay, so let's just take a look at the cards here that we've Klondiked. Okay, I don't know if that means anything to anybody. 6 and a 7. Oh, an ace and a queen. Let's see. Do either pair have anything to do with a king? A 2 and a jack. An 8 and a 5. Do you see any connection yet? A 9 and a 4. And finally, a 3 and a 10. I would assume by now you probably have made the connection that a king that has that unlucky value of 13 has nonetheless helped us pull off some unbelievable card magic, because each and every pair around the king precisely adds to 13. That is beyond belief. Okay, so you won't believe this until you try it for yourself and see it in action. And as I mentioned, I'll point you to a new principle driving this. And if you want to understand it and be able to use it in your own card magic, take a look at those videos linked below. And I'll probably create some additional routines on this principle because it is so fantastic that you won't believe it until you try it for yourself. Okay. Okay, so that is what I wanted to share with you today. And then just think about how you could apply this in other situations. What's really driving this? You'll learn that if you look at the videos linked below. So I appreciate you watching and encourage you to take a look at other videos on the Absolute Math Magic channel.